Hello friends, in this session we will start with drawing phasor diagrams for a synchronous machine. We will also see how we can have equivalent circuit of a synchronous generator as well as motor to some extent. Let us begin. Now, we need to understand one thing here. In synchronous machines especially, we cannot do anything without this phasor diagram. Why? I will just tell you the importance of it. Wait, see here. See, first thing is, do you agree that we have something called as excitation? Correct? Yes, we have something called as excitation. Is it variable or not? Yes, we can vary that excitation. Means you will be having some field winding which is there on the rotor. Correct? Correct? Yes, and this current will be there IF, and yes, definitely this current IF can be varied. Is that correct? Yes. Now, next thing is steam power input or water power input, steam power, or for example, if you think of hydro, then maybe hydro means water power input, correct? Power input. Variable or not? Yes, it is also variable, correct? Yes. Then, if you think of in our transformer, machines 1, we have seen that in transformers I2 theta 2, which are the secondary, what do we say? Secondary current I2, and this is nothing but the secondary for power factor, correct? Those were variable, am I right? Yes. So the same variables will be there even here now, correct? Yes. Then next thing is what? Next thing is what? Our alternator which is there, that can be either operated in isolated way, or it can also be operated as, what do we say, grid, connected to grid, correct? Yes. So if you see, there are so many independent variables here. It is not just I2 theta 2. Now we have excitation also which is variable, we have input also variable, correct? Hence we should be able to play with all of those variables, and in order to do that, the most easiest way is called as phasor diagram. This was just importance of it. Now we will try to see whatever we have seen till now, whatever we have seen till now. Yes, if you agree with me, in our modeling practicalities, correct, modeling practicalities video, we have seen that we have got something called as armature leakage reactance, correct? Or we can say leakage flux, which was there, which was modeled in the name of armature leakage reactance. Let me call that armature leakage reactance to be XAL. Now if you see our armature, do you agree that our armature is of copper winding? Correct? Copper winding is there or not? Yes. Which means definitely there will be resistance. Is that correct? Yes. So I can also call it as RA, for example. Correct? Now we will try to draw the things which we have already seen earlier. Means, for example, we know this is FF, correct? Yes. Now 90 degree to this, because of this FF, we have got this no load EMF which is there, which is nothing but EF, correct? Because of this field FF, I have got EMF EF, correct? Yes. Now, if you think of IA, if you think of IA, for example, if I consider lagging now, correct? Then IA which is there, it will lag behind EF, correct? This is going to be IA. Now, if you see, because of this IA, there has to be a flux which is nothing but FAR. We have already seen that in our armature reaction sessions, correct? Yes. Now, if you add this FF and FAR, what do you get? If you add them, you get the resultant, which is nothing but FR, right? Now, what happens now is, if you think of this particular FR, 90 degrees to this FR, 90 degrees to this FR, we know we get this we get this ER, resultant EMF, or we can say internally induced voltage, correct? Yes, this is what till now seen we have seen, correct? Now, if you think of terminal voltage VT, what will that look like? What will that look like? If you see, what happens is, whatever happens, this is for example your alternator machine, correct? Alternator. If you think of, if it is an alternator, what will happen? Two terminals will come out here this way, correct? Now, here you will apply some load, whether it is RL load or RC, any load you may apply here. Now, what will happen? What will happen? Some IA current will flow here, correct? And there will be some voltage here which is given by VT. This is going to be the terminal voltage. But now inside this machine, inside this alternator, what all things will be there, correct? So if you see, when IA is flowing, if you see, when IA is flowing, what happens is your operating or your internally induced voltage is now not EF but it is ER. Is that right? Why? Because of this IA, I have got this flux FAR. Is that correct? Yes. Because of this FAR, I have got this FR. Resultant FR means FAR plus FF is nothing but FR. And now for that FR, I have got this ER. Is that correct? I hope you are understanding my sequence, correct? Now, focus. What will happen now? See, if I think of voltage drops, now see here, you have got some leakage reactance which is XAL, correct? And you have got some RA, correct? As transformer only, the same things we are supposed to do now. See, what happens? Since it is leakage reactance, if you see, what will happen? This is ER, correct? If I think of this way, then it will become IAXL, correct? XAL, correct? If you see, right? But if you see, this ER will be there. From that, I will have to subtract the drops, voltage drops which are there. I will have to subtract them, and then what will I get at the end is our terminal voltage VT, correct? For that, I will have this one, not this way. This becomes plus IAXAL, but I want this one. So nothing but minus IAXAL. I hope you are understanding this point, correct? Yes. So let me just erase this. Correct? Yes. This is nothing but IA minus IAXAL, correct? Now, if you think of IARA will be in this direction, in phase with IA, but I want what? Minus IARA. So this is going to be this way. So I will have minus IARA this way. Is that correct? Yes. Now, if I add them, what do I get here? See, this is what ER minus IAXAL minus IARA. These were the drops, IAXAL and IRA drops. When I subtract them from here, what do I get? I get VT. So this is my terminal voltage, VT. Is that correct? Yes. Now, let me define some angles over here and try to see what happens. See, if you think of, for example, this is FF to FR. We know that FF to FR, there will be torque angle, correct, which is nothing but delta. So we know that what is delta here? Delta is nothing but torque or power angle. Is that correct? Correct. We have already seen that, correct? Now, what is next thing we have? Next thing we have is, if you see VT and IA, this is IA and this is VT. Between VT and IA, I will be having this angle which is called as phi. This becomes load, because see, this angle is depending on IA and IA depends on the load. Is that correct? Which means definitely this angle which is phi is called as load power factor angle. Load power factor angle. Correct? Yes. And now if you see, this is internally induced EMF EF when you have no load, correct? When this particular load is not there. So this is your EF. So now the angle between this EF and my IA is called as psi, which is nothing but internal power factor angle. Getting my point? It is nothing but internal PF angle, power factor angle, correct? Which is there between what? EF and IA. EF and IA it is there. Similarly, if you think of load power factor angle is there between what? VT and IA, correct? Yes. So this is what is the actual scenario. This is what is the actual scenario. Now, if I try to think of the same thing in a equivalent circuit form, then let us see what do I get. At no load, if you see what you have at no load, you have got this FF, and because of this FF, you have got this EF. Is that correct? 90 degrees lag, you have got EF. So you will basically have here EF, correct? Let me call plus minus EF, correct? This is AC. Don't worry, you will understand that, correct? So I will be having EF. Now after that, what do I have then? Definitely I have got RA and I have got XAL, correct? Armature leakage reactance, correct? And definitely, so this is how I have got. And what will there be at the end? Definitely, here I will be having terminal voltage VT. But now since it is at no load, I will be having my no load. So this becomes IA, which is equal to 0, correct? This is what we have understood. Now what happens at load is very, very interesting. We'll see why it is interesting also, don't worry. You please tell me what is the induced voltage at load condition. If you see when you have load, which means you have got IA, correct? You have got this IA, because of that you have got this FAR. Because of this FAR and addition with FF, you have got this FR, correct? And because of this FR at load, you have got EMF to be ER. Is that correct? EMF to be ER, which means now here rather than EF, you will be having ER. Getting my point? Getting my point? Yes. And rest of the things are same. So this is RA. This is going to be XAL. And what happens now is you'll be having terminal voltage at the end VT. And here what we have is IA, which will be not 0. Correct? Here IA will be some finite value. Is that right? This is what happens at load. But now if we check out, there is a small problem. Not a small problem, but we'll try to see what it is. If you think of this ER, what is this ER? If you see, is this ER fixed? Now, see. For example, let us first talk about EF. Is it fixed? If you say it is not fixed, you are right. If you say it is fixed, you are right. But let me tell you one thing. If for example your FF, which is the field excitation, if it is constant, then what will happen? Your EF will definitely also be constant, correct? Because this EF which is there, it is there only and only because of this FF, MMF, correct? MMF of the field. So if you see, EF is definitely constant, not variable. Now let us see what is ER. ER, if you see, it is EF, correct? Yes. You have got IA. Is it variable or is it same, constant every time? If you see, IA is not constant. IA is not constant. Is that correct? Why? Because you really don't know what the load will be. This means if IA is not constant, which means FAR is also not constant. If FAR is not constant, it means that addition of this FF and this FAR is not constant, which is FR. So FR is also not constant, and if FR is not constant, it means ER is not constant. This is the problem in having ER. Getting my point? What is the problem? Because in order to analyze ER, you will have to first think of this FAR, and then you will have to think of this FR, and then from FR you will have to get ER. Is that right? So in order to shorten this process, or in order to think of, because it is half of the things are in EMF, are in voltages, and half of the things are in MMF. Means, for example, I'll tell you what happens. See, let us say you are supposed to analyze ER. What is ER? So you may say that yes, sir. If you think of ER, then we should have this IA, correct? Which means IA, then you will be having this FAR, then because of this FAR you will be having, so FAR plus FF addition, you will get FR, correct? And now what will happen again, because of this FR you will be having ER, is that right? Which means half of the things are in volt. And if you see this particular IAXL, it is in voltage form. This particular IARA, it is in voltage form. Is that correct? Which means if you check out, half of the things are in voltages and half of the things are in MMFs. Correct? Is that right? Yes. So this is where I would like to introduce you to something called as EMF method, MMF method, and ZPF method. Right? So see, if you see now, we have just said that half of the things are in voltages, half of the things are in MMFs. Is that correct? So if you convert all MMF into voltage, then we say that it is going to be EMF method. We are following EMF method, correct? Now, next is what? If you convert all voltages into MMFs, then we say that it is going to be MMF method. And if you keep voltages as voltages, MMFs as MMF, then you get something called as, then it means you are going to use Portier triangle method, which is also called as ZPF method, correct? Portier triangle method, correct? Now, let us see what is the reality and what happens if I use EMF method, because I will be interested into this only. I will be more interested in this method only, EMF method only. Why? Because we know how to analyze things in voltages, correct? And another thing is, if you check out, we actually don't know whether it is right or it is wrong. We don't know. We'll try to see that later. But for time being, let us try to understand what is EMF method. Correct? Now, see, what is the reality? What is reality? If you see, because of FF, you have got EF. Is that correct? Correct? Yes. Now, what happens? FF plus FAR, FF plus FAR, phasors only, correct? FF plus FAR will bring FR, correct? And because of this FR, you will have ER. This is the whole story we have. Now, what does EMF method say? Rather than saying it this way, which is the truth, reality, I can say it this way, by EMF method way. What does that say? EMF method way. What does that say? Let us try to understand. It says what? Yes, FF produces EF. I agree. Now it says that, for example, let me consider that FF is producing EMF EF, which is right, and FAR. See, very important, very important, very important. That FAR is now producing EMF, which is EAR. That is what we have seen. We want all the MMFs into voltages. MMFs into voltages. So if you see, I've got this FF, which is nothing but EF, and this FAR, which is now having you EAR. Is that correct? Now, if you add them, what happens? EF plus EAR will give you ER directly. This is what is something that they are saying. This is what the EMF method says. This is what EMF method says. It is right or it is wrong. We don't know that. But this is what it says. Now, if you see, let me try to draw phasor diagram based on this now. Let us see what happens. Yes. So if you think of, we have got this is FF, for example, then because of this FF 90 degrees I get EF, correct? Yes. Now if you think of lagging conditions, then we have got this IA. Because of this IA we have got some field flux, some armature flux, which is FAR, correct? Now FAR plus FF, what do you have here? What do you get then? FAR plus FF, you get it to be equal to FR. Is that correct? Now Now, just observe. Because of this FR, you get 90 degrees here, you get ER, correct? This is what we have seen. Now, next is what? Minus IAXAL drop will be like this. So this is minus IAXAL drop, correct? And this is going to be minus IARA drop, opposite to my IA, correct? And if you join, this becomes your VT, correct? This is your VT. That is what we have seen, correct? Now, what does EMF method say? It says that because of FF came, I agree. It says, but it also says that because of this IA FAR came, I know, but because of this FAR, now I have got another EMF which is EAR. Because of this FAR, it has formed, so definitely 90 degrees lagging to this, I will get what? I will get EAR. Is that correct? EAR. This is armature reaction EMF, correct? Now, if I add EF and ER, EF and EAR, what do we have then? We have seen that when you add EF plus EAR, you get, because we have seen that FF plus FAR gives you ER, correct? So, on the similar line, see, because of this FR, EF came, so EF plus EAR gives you ER. This is what EMF method says. So, again, I have got EF, I have also got EAR. I just have to add it in order to check if I can have ER or not. Yes, so if you see, if I've got this ER this way, so I can show the same EAR like this here, so it becomes EAR. Now if you see EAR plus EF, if you see EF plus EAR, you will get ER. Is that correct? Is that correct? Now if you observe what has happened here, what has happened here? This particular EAR and my minus IAXAL drop, they are in line or not? Yes, they are in line. Am I correct? They are in line, which means, see, this is EAR, which is nothing but what? It is going to show you, rather, this EAR, it nothing but shows you minus IAXAR drop. AR, because of armature reaction drop. That is what it is trying to show you. So if you see minus IAXAR drop plus minus IAXAL, so in totality you get this to be equal to, so EMF method says that this EAR plus this drop which is there, it combinedly gives you excess, which is the synchronous reactance. We will try to see that in our equivalent circuit. Let us see. If you see, this is going to be our, what do we say, EF, correct? Yes. Now, after that, what have you got? Let us say you have got this XAR. So, let me have this XAR over here. Armature reaction reactance. This XAR is what, sir? Armature reaction reactance. Very important. Correct? Then, let me have our array, and then what will I have is, let me have this IAXAL. So let me have this XAL over here, armature leakage reactance. So XAL is what? Armature leakage reactance, correct? Yes. Now to close this way, this is IA, and here I will get VT, which is the terminal voltage. Is that correct? Solved. Now if you see this XAR, now just because of this particular XAR, we say that synchronous machine has the highest X by R ratio. Why? Let me tell you that. See, we have seen in transformer X by R ratio for the transformer is least, correct? After that, we have seen we get X by R ratio for induction motor. Why? Because it is going to, or induction machine. Why? Because it is a rotating machine. Now we have seen that in case of rotating machines, if you see what we have got something called as back to back leakage, correct? Then we have got slot leakage, then some zigzag leakage and all, etc., correct? Slot leakage and all. Because of this, reactance of this is more than the transformer we have seen. But we have seen that synchronous X bar ratio of synchronous is the highest. Synchronous machine is the highest. Why? Because in synchronous machine, you have this slot leakage and all, they are already there in it. Correct. But apart from that, we have got something called as armature reaction reactance, which is nothing but XAR. Because of this XAR, we can say that because this XAR is not there in case of induction machine, it is there in case of synchronous machine. That is the reason we say that X bar ratio of synchronous machine is highest. Getting my point? Yes. Now, if I try to combine them, what happens? Let us see. Because I have basically combined here this IA XAR and this minus IA XAL, correct? So let me just combine this XAR and this XAL. What do I get? Let us see. If I combine them, now before that, if you observe, what do we have? Let us see. This is your ER, correct? If you see EF minus this EAR drop means EF minus IAXAR drop. If you see, you get here somewhere you get ER, correct? Which is nothing but this EF minus this IAXAR drop, correct? Yes, because right? Is that correct? Yes. So if you check out here, you have got this ER. Now, if I combine this XAR and XAL, what do I get? Let us see. The moment I combine XAR and XAL, I can write it combinedly as XS, which is synchronous reactance. This is going to be big. Synchronous reactance, correct? And the rest of the things are same. The rest of the things in the same. This is going to be your RA. This is going to be plus minus EF, correct? And this is your IA, and this is going to be plus minus VT. Is that correct? Yes. Now, dear, you please see what has happened. The moment you combine this XAR and this XAL, ER gets vanished or not? Yes, because this ER is something which is between this XAR and XAL. But the moment I say that I have only access, it means what? I don't know personally what is my ER. Is that correct? Now, if you think of this angle, this FF and this FR, the angle is going to be delta. Is that correct? Yes, angle is delta. Now, if you check out angle between EF and ER, what is that angle? EF and ER. If you see, it is going to be delta. Correct? We are seeing that because FF produces EF and this FR produces ER. Correct? That's what we are seeing. But now, since ER is not available, means let me erase ER because ER is not available. ER is not available, so let me erase ER. Now, if you see, since ER is not available, my delta becomes this one. So now, in terms of voltages, if you see, my delta, which is the torque angle, is now nothing but angle between EF and VT. EF and VT. So now delta, you see delta which is there, it is now angle between EF and VT, which was initially between EF and ER. But since we don't know ER, we say that angle delta is now between EF and VT. Is that correct? Yes. Now let me try to draw it. This is our axis. This is plus minus EF. Correct. This is going to be RA. This was IA. This is plus minus VT. Is that correct? Is that correct? Yes. Now see dear. See. What do you observe? What do you observe? This FF is ahead of FR or not? Yes. Whenever FF is ahead of FR, which means whenever field poles are ahead of the resultant pole, it is alternator, and it is alternator which is delivering some amount of active power. Correct? Now, if you see, same angle delta is there between EF and VT. Is that correct? Yes. Again, if you see, when my FF is ahead of FR, my EF is ahead of VT by an angle delta. So I can say that. So I can say that if my Vt is at an angle 0 degrees, then my EF becomes at an angle plus delta. And if this is true, then definitely it will deliver some amount of active power, correct, to the load. Now, let us try to find phasor diagram for this particular equivalent circuit. Let us see how it looks. Okay, what do we have? Let me consider Vt at an angle 0 degrees as the reference. So let me have Vt as the reference. If you think of lagging condition only, if you think of lagging condition only, let me think of this Ia is lagging. So let me have this Ia here. Now, what will you get then? You get here, you get IARA drop, Vt plus IARA drop plus IAXS. Now it is not XAL, rather it is IAXS drop. Correct. Now if you add them, what do you get? Vt plus IARA plus IAXS, you get EF. This is going to be the phasor diagram for the same. Now, another thing. If for example, everything is same, delivering active power, Vt at an angle 0, everything is same. Just if I change this EF from EF at an angle plus delta to EF at an angle minus delta, then what happens? See, whenever we say that EF is at an angle minus delta, it means that EF is behind Vt, which means my resultant pole which is there, that will be ahead of FF, correct? See dear. This is plus delta, correct? If you think of minus delta, what will happen then? This Fr will come ahead of FF, and we know that whenever Fr is ahead of FF, it is a synchronous motor. It is a synchronous motor, correct? Correct? Yes. So this green condition is when it is motor, when it is synchronous motor, and this particular blue condition is when it is a generator, correct? When it is a generator, or we say alternator in our words, correct? This is the whole thing. Now, apart from this, some more things are there which we will see in the next session. Thank you.